Welcome to the Noble Bereans video channel. I'm your host, Steve Sanders, and today we are continuing to talk about Mary and Martha, contemplation before action. Last week, we found something most sermons miss in the Martha-Mary story. It's not a one-time moment about choosing worship over work. It's a pattern, one that appears twice in Scripture, showing Mary's discipleship progressively deepen from listening at Jesus' feet to an act of worship that was so perceptive it may have actually anticipated his death. We saw what that contemplative foundation produces, not passivity, but formation. Mary wasn't more spiritual than Martha. She was more formed, and that formation gave her eyes to see what others could not. So today's question's simple. What does that look like for us, practically, in the shape of our lives as ambassadors? Here's where most of us get stuck. We hear the Mary principle and we feel the pull toward it. We want that depth. But then Monday hits and we're back in the Martha mode and we feel guilty about it. That guilt is a misreading of the text. Jesus never told Martha to stop serving. He told her to stop being anxious. The goal isn't less service. It's service that flows from a different foundation. Now, back in the Daniel series, we saw that Daniel prayed 3 times a day, even when a law made it punishable by death. That wasn't his downtime. That was his fuel source. It's what made everything else possible. His courage in the lion's den, his wisdom before kings, his ability to interpret what others couldn't. All of it flowed from a life organized around time before God. Mary's contemplative posture isn't in competition with Martha's faithful service. It's what makes Martha's service sustainable, meaningful, and effective. But sequence matters. So there are really 3 practical shifts here. Number 1, from information to formation. Most of us approach our Bibles like a reference book. We look things up, we study topics, we answer questions, and that's not wrong. It's how we get biblical knowledge, and knowledge matters. But Mary wasn't studying at Jesus' feet. She was being formed. There's a difference between knowing about a person and being shaped by sustained attention to them. Formation is slower, less productive feeling, but far more powerful. So practically speaking, you could take 1 passage per week and read it slowly, multiple times, asking not, what does this mean? But who is Jesus in this text? Let his character come into focus. That's the Mary posture. Number 2, from reaction to perception. It seems Mary may have understood that Jesus was walking toward death. She didn't arrive at that conclusion through prophecy charts. She came to it by knowing him. As ambassadors, we're constantly in situations that require discernment. How does Christ want me to be represented here? What does this moment call for? Grace or truth? Patience or directness? Presence or action? That discernment requires knowing him, not just knowing about him. The ambassador question I want you to carry into every situation is this. Based on what I know of Jesus, his character, his compassion, his priorities, how would he want me to be reflected in this moment? That question only gets sharper the more time you've spent with him. And then point 3, from duty to love. Martha was serving. Mary was loving. Both were present with Jesus, but anxiety drove Martha's service, troubled, scattered, and worried about the details. Love drove Mary's. She gave a year's wages worth of perfume without calculation. Duty-driven ambassadors represent Christ accurately on paper and exhaust themselves in the process. Love-driven ambassadors represent him from the inside out, and there's a visible difference that people around them can feel. The only thing that converts duty to love at the foundation is time. Regular, unhurried, expectant time at his feet. And this is the rhythm, not the rule. I want to be careful here. I'm not prescribing a formula. Don't take it that way. Some of you are morning people, some aren't. Some have young children or demanding jobs that make 15 uninterrupted minutes feel impossible. Listen, I get that, and I've been there. But what I am after here is a rhythm. A regular return to the feet of Jesus that becomes as natural as breathing. Daniel's 3 times a day was his rhythm. It wasn't legalism, it was orientation. He kept coming back so he wouldn't drift. For you, that might be a morning coffee and a song. It might be a prayer walk at lunch. It might be 10 minutes in your car before you go inside at night. The form doesn't matter as much as the return. Keep coming back to his feet. Let that be the thing that doesn't get crowded out. So what's the ambassador connection here? Well, we spend a lot of time here at Noble Bereans talking about what it means to reflect him well, to represent Christ accurately in the daily moments of our lives. Everything I've said today is in service of that mission. You cannot accurately represent someone you don't know. A brand ambassador who doesn't understand the brand they represent will eventually misrepresent it, sometimes in damaging ways. And the same is true for us. The Daniel files showed us what faithful ambassadorship looks like under pressure, in exile, before kings, inside a system designed to compromise you. What made Daniel's witness credible and consistent was the thing we almost always overlook: his prayer life, his posture before God, his regular return to the feet of his king. Mary shows us what that posture looks like for us, not in Babylon, not before Nebuchadnezzar, in an ordinary house in Bethany with a dinner to prepare and a sister who needs help. The invitation is the same in both stories. Sit down, be still, let him form you. Then go represent him from that depth. Last week I challenged you to practice the posture, 15 minutes with one passage and one question. I want to add to that this week. I want to add an ambassador question to it. After you've sat at his feet, after you've read slowly and listened, ask this question: because of what I know of Jesus, how does he want to be reflected in my life this week? And then go out and do that. Not out of duty, not out of guilt, out of love, shaped by time, flowing from the inside out. Because that's what it looks like to reflect him well. I'm Steve Sanders. God bless.